and welcome back to Football Daily, where we have a nice cheerful one for you today. 10 clubs underachieving this season. Let's pile on the misery. 10. Everton. After 4 top 10 finishes in the last 5 completed seasons, even the most pessimistic Toffee fan wouldn't have predicted they'd be fighting relegation this season in mid-March. Yes, they were being managed by the unpopular Rafael Benitez, but with a CV that included spells at Liverpool, Real Madrid and Napoli, he was arguably their second most decorated manager this century, following on from their first, Carlo Ancelotti. You can't say that Farhad Moshiri hasn't tried either, with Everton's net spend of £360 million across the last 10 completed campaigns standing 8th in Europe, above Chelsea, Bayern and Liverpool, winners of 5 combined Champions League in that period. But it's safe to say the strategy behind the spending has been completely flawed. They've been left with a squad signed by 8 different managers with drastically contrasting philosophies. And it shows with their lack of quality, seeing them rank 17th for goals, 16th for goals against, and 18th for losses at the time of writing. Even if they do survive, Lampard has his work cut out. 9. Borussia Dortmund. It seems harsh to pummel a team that have scored 66 league goals at the time of writing, the 4th best record in Europe's top 5 leagues. However, we can't help but feel that Dortmund should be doing better. For starters, the signings of Daniel Marlon and Gregor Kobel have underwhelmed. Marlon's 7 league goal contributions in 25 games is pretty unspectacular, while Kobel has let in 1 more goal than he should have, according to post-shot XG. Choosing to let Thomas Delaney go in the summer has also proved costly, as it's left Mahmoud Dahoud overexposed in the centre of the park, with the more defensively minded Axel Witsel now a bit part player. The result is their backline is under immense pressure, with Köln the only side to concede more than their 5 goals on the counter-attack and their expected goals against per game of 1.4. That's their worst record in the last 7 completed seasons. Sure, injuries have played a part, but for a squad as talented as theirs to be out of the title race, Europe and the Cup by the end of February can only be seen as an underachievement. 8. Sunderland. We drop outside of the major leagues now to briefly touch upon the sad case that is Sunderland. Having finished 13th in the Premier League just a decade ago, reaching the League Cup final just 2 years later, the Black Cats now find themselves in League One, along with 6 other former Premier League sides. 2018-19 saw them reach the playoff final before succumbing to a last-minute Charlton winner. The COVID-affected 2019-20 campaign denied them of a playoff spot on points per game, before yet more heartbreak in the 2021 playoffs. When Sunderland found themselves top on New Year's Day, it finally felt like this year was their year. But after 1 win in their first 5 games of 2022, which included a 6-0 defeat away at Bolton, the 6th time this season they'd conceded at least 3 goals, manager Lee Johnson was fired. They looked to appoint Roy Keane, but in the intermittent period lost a further 2 games, and the Irishman got cold feet. Now under former Norwich boss Alex Neil, the club have won just 10 of their last 26 league games. For a club with as many top-flight titles as Chelsea, and with the largest average attendance outside the Premier League at over 30,000, this is simply inexcusable. 7. Benfica. Having failed to win the title in the last 2 seasons, finishing 9 points behind Sporting CP in 2021, and having made a £22 million profit on their summer business, few Benfica fans thought they were favourites heading into the 21-22 campaign. But to be 10 points behind FC Porto, having already lost 4 league games, a figure they've only topped once in the last 10 years, despite having Portugal's most exciting talent in Darwin Núñez, can only be put down as a disappointment. Núñez has upheld his side of the bargain with 20 league goals at the time of writing, a figure topped by 1 player in Europe's top 5 leagues. Whilst Rafa Silva's 15 league assists is only bettered by Thomas Muller, but they've already conceded 24 league goals, more than in any season between 2013-14 and 2017-18. So, where do the main problems lie? Well, for starters, they have a bloated squad, with 31 players receiving game time so far this season. Secondly, their backline could use an injection of youthful exuberance, with Otamendi and Vertonghen having a combined age of 68. And strangely enough, for a side that stunned Barcelona and Ajax to reach the Champions League quarter-finals, their mentality has crumbled in the big games, at least on the domestic front. They've lost to Sporting CP and Porto in the league, and the same opponents in both cups. Still paying former manager Jorge Jesus until the end of the season, it's unclear who'll be taking charge of the first team next year. 6. Swansea. For our second trip outside of the major leagues, we head to Wales to have a look at Swansea, who, after finishing in the playoffs for the last 2 seasons, currently find themselves in 15th. Closer to 20th place Birmingham than they are to the playoffs. 2021-22 was always going to be a challenging year. The summer had seen the excellent Steve Cooper depart by mutual consent, only to take over at promotion-chasing Nottingham Forest. Following Cooper out the door was their top goal scorer from the last 2 seasons, Andre Ayew, as well as Connor Roberts and Jamal Lowe, not to mention Freddie Woodburn and Mark Gehy's loan spells coming to an end. In came former Norwich defender Russell Martin in just his second management role, as well as youngsters like Michael Obafemi, Olivier Ncham, Reece Williams and Ethan Laird. The results? Very average. They haven't won more than 2 games in a row all season and have only spent 2 weeks in the top 10, let alone the playoff spots. The 6th lowest scorers in the division, Swansea fans can be forgiven for feeling incredibly underwhelmed with their campaign so far. 5. Juventus. By New Year, Juventus were a dead cert for our list. After 19 league games, the old lady had lost 5 and were 5th in Serie A, 12 points behind Inter. Fears that Max Allegri would usher in an archaic brand of football were quickly realised, with Juve scoring just 27 times at a rate of 1.4 goals per game. But what a difference a few months can make. Unbeaten in their last 15 league matches, no club in Serie A has been in better form than Juventus across 2022. Their goal per game ratio has increased to 1.7, while the Bianconeri are on course to reach the Coppa Italia final. They might only be 4th in the table, but they have a 7-point buffer on Lazio behind them, and are creeping up on the Scudetto-chasing trio of Inter, Napoli and AC Milan. And if you needed a reminder of the Bianconeri's enduring power, look no further than Dusan Vlahovic. Bought in for a staggering £73 million from Fiorentina, the Serbian sensation has had a solid start with 4 goals in 9 starts. With Vlahovic around, you get the feeling it won't be long before Juventus are back to their best, despite another early Champions League exit at the hands of Villarreal, which to be honest, kept them in contention for this list. 4. Leicester City. For the second season running, Leicester City find themselves plagued by injuries that are destabilising their efforts. The hugely talented Wesley Fofana has only just returned to training after breaking his leg in pre-season, which is just as well as Johnny Evans has been out since mid-December. James Justin has missed half the campaign, while Mendy, Soyuncu, Tielemans and Vardy have all spent periods on the treatment table. As a result, Brendan Rodgers has been forced to tinker and change his starting XI, fielding 9 different formations so far this campaign. And it's not really working. Leicester are currently 12th, 13 points shy of Wolves in 8th, although they do have 3 games in hand. Going forward, Leicester are still faring okay, with the 9th best attack in the division. However, their makeshift defence has conceded 45 times at the time of writing, just 3 fewer than Newcastle, putting them on course to finish with a negative goal difference for the first time in 5 years. Still, the inaugural Europa League conference might offer some salvation, offering them a backdoor route into the Europa League. 3. Gladbach. A number of Bundesliga giants are having a stinker this season, from Eintracht Frankfurt in 9th to Wolfsburg in 12th. But below them in 13th are Borussia Mönchengladbach, a team unravelling at a dangerous pace. Fohlen have been awful. They've won just 8 times this season, lost 12 and shipped a massive 51 goals. Only Hertha Berlin and basement boys Greuther Fürth have leakier defences. Although this was to be expected under Adi Hütter, the talented Austrian may have led Eintracht to 5th last season, but they also conceded more goals than anyone else in the top 7. And the year before that was even worse, with the 7th worst defensive record in the entire division. Goalkeeper Jan Sommer's statistics lay bare Gladbach's issues. The Swiss keeper is facing 5.4 shots on target per 90, the most in his career. And while his save percentage of 64% isn't great, when you factor in he's actually prevented more goals than expected according to post-shot XG, it's clear he's not getting adequate protection. Influential midfielder Dennis Zakaria left in January, defender Matthias Ginter is going this summer, and the club's sporting director Max Erbel resigned citing exhaustion. Quite simply, it's all going wrong at Borussia Park. 2. Lyon. Peter Bosch's Lyon are capable of both dazzling and exhausting football in equal measure. When their attack is purring, it can be a joy to behold. They're currently averaging more shots on target and completing as many dribbles per match as PSG. Not to mention, Lucas Paqueta has finally erupted into the superstar we all expected him to be, with 10 goal involvements so far, while Moussa Dembele and Cole Toko Akambi have continued to deliver. But it could be so much better. Illustrative of this is the fact they're the biggest underperformers in terms of expected goals in all of Europe's major leagues. A lack of decisive finishing combined with a defensive record that is the 10th best in Ligue 1 has left Leganés in 10th, currently out of the European spots. The table is tight with only 8 points separating them from Rennes in 4th, but with their erratic domestic form, winning the Europa League might become their best avenue to reach the Champions League. Bosch was always going to bring a fun and expansive style to Lyon, but unless it starts delivering concrete results, it might not survive beyond the summer. 1. Manchester United. Last summer, Old Trafford was buzzing. United had just finished second, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had earned a new deal, and Cristiano Ronaldo was back. What could possibly go wrong? Well, in typical United style, quite a lot. A positive start actually saw them win 4 and score 13 in their first 5 matches. But by mid-November, Solskjaer was sacked following a dismal 4-1 defeat away to Watford. The Red Devils had collected 17 points from a possible 36 and had conceded more goals than any side in the top 11. Ralf Rangnick arrived with a reputation for detail and results have stabilised. Only City and Liverpool have earned more points since the German came on board, but that hasn't done much to improve the atmosphere at Old Trafford. Under Rangnick, they're scoring a flat 1.5 goals per game, and have slumped to costly draws against Burnley, Watford and Newcastle. Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw look like shadows of their former selves, while the Ronaldo gamble hasn't paid off despite the 37-year-old scoring 12 times at the time of writing. His recent unsanctioned trip to Portugal also suggests that attitude issues remain in the United dressing room. It looks like the Red Devils are going to be hitting the reset button once more this coming summer. So team, that was our 10 clubs who are underachieving this season. But who have we missed out? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to Football Daily with notifications on, and we'll see you in the next top 10.